format today. Going to be a really interactive session. I will start with, but we always need a bit of theory, right? So sort of 10 minutes on the theory of, what product strategy is, why it's so important, how we define and validate it in an actionable way. And then most of today is going to be a really hands-on session. So we're all going to head over to Miro, or you can just follow along. I'm going to screen share as well. And we're going to define a real product strategy as a group. And as Adam said at the end, there's going to be time for some Q&A. So let me just screen share and make sure that everyone can actually see what is going on before we get started. Adam, you can see that, can't you?
Yep, that's good. Perfect.
Great. Let me just open up the chat as well. I'll address questions at the end, but we'll see if something relevant pops up as well. Good. So I started my first business back in 2012. So that business was called Backtracking. You see the little logo here. Whilst I was traveling alone in the Brazilian Amazon, trying to learn Portuguese and not die from the amount of mosquitoes and sort of scary animals out there. Anyway, on that journey, I had this idea, and I wanted to build really the next big thing for backpacking. So when I went back to actually my final year at university, no business experience, but I said, I've got this vision. Let's put a team together, and we started building an app. Fast forward 2 years later, we failed, despite investors, despite great advisors, actually a pretty fast learning team. We just made every mistake imaginable over those 2 years. But during that journey, when I look back now, one key mistake really stood out to me. When I look back, and what I want to do now is I want to see if you, as a group, can work out what that mistake might have been based only on this statement that you can see here, right? This statement really outlining what we wanted to offer. So what do you think was the big mistake we might have made just by reading this line here? Okay, so I'll give you a minute, maybe write some ideas, write some answers. There are a few different things you could put here. Okay, so let's give you a minute, and I'd like you to write on the Zoom chat or the LinkedIn live stream, wherever you can comment. What do you think the big mistake was that we made with this business? Awesome. So we've got some ideas already coming through. Let's see what we've got. Good. I'll give it 30 seconds more for people to get a few more answers down. Boom. First one, Stephanie. No problem. Like, what was the problem that's being solved here? An exciting new app for backpackers. Okay, like what about backpacking is problematic? Why does an app solve it? What is it trying to solve, for example? Josie had good insight. Backpackers just didn't have internet, particularly back in the day. Very difficult, very bad internet access. Sydney, do backpackers actually want a new app? So no clear need. Good, yeah, no sort of like opportunity, problem, nothing related to that. Robert, yeah, good, clear, no clear need, no clear value there. Sorry, good. I didn't really get you good there. No value proposition. Yeah, good. Same kind of idea, right? You could use that word better. Anna, just why question mark? Yeah, absolutely. I wish you had asked me that back in 2012, 2013. It probably would have saved me a lot of stress and a lot of time. It's a broadly, no problem, no value proposition, even no real specific audience there, right? Because if we're not clear about the problem, it's like backpackers quite big and very diverse group. Like, who do we mean specifically? Is it like first-time backpackers? Is it, backpackers with 20 years experience? Like, these are very different groups with very different problems. So we need to be clear on the audience. And the other thing is okay, you could go, well, there's, probably some problems related to that, but it's just no differentiation. Like, what is different about this exciting new app? Like, what does that even mean? So it's vague, it's unclear, and we were not clear on audience, what the problem is, what kind of value we might deliver, how we might deliver anything in a very different way. Okay, so a good lesson in perhaps what not to do when it comes to product management and product strategy. Next topic, or next exercise. Let's now contrast that with a very successful product. So Superhuman, if you have heard of it, Superhuman does the seemingly impossible. It is an email product. It outcompetes Gmail for its market. It charges $30 a month. That's 6 times what Gmail charges. They manually onboard their users. And last time I checked, they had a waiting list of over 750,000 people, 750,000 people ready to pay $30 a month to Superhuman. Now, same exercise based purely on this statement, right? What they seem to offer them this statement. Why do you think Superhuman is so successful? Don't worry about going over to their website. Don't worry about what you know about them if you are a user. Just from reading this statement, why do you think they might have been so successful? Again, I'll give you a minute to post your answers, and then we'll have a look through some of those. So, the fastest email experience ever. Why do you think that statement really hints at why this company, this product was so successful? Get some ideas coming through already. Let's draw a line here. Let's see what else we've got. So why do you think this product was so successful? Has been up until now. Excellent, getting some ideas here. So Robert saying it speaks to the value. What is that? As Sydney says, specifically, clear problem of slow email experience. Just email takes up lots of time. Same kind of idea. Good. Anything else? Anything else here? Think of the name as well, maybe, and what that might hint at. Anything else here? Any other ideas coming through? See, anyone else? Anyone else? Any more for any more? Got a couple of things. Well, I'll hint. So audience is hinted at. It's not crystal clear. It is actually, if you read more, go on the website a bit more, you sort of understand the business. It's actually quite specific with its market, right? Superhuman. Who does that attract? It's going to be type A people, right? High performing people that like optimizing every part of their life. And I think actually Superhuman targeted busy tech leaders initially. So very much in that audience. So there is an implicit audience, and also by the problem itself. Who has problems with email? It's not your average employee. It's, someone that's getting hundreds of emails a day. So busy tech CEO, really good audience that it's implicitly, right? It's implying this product is going to be for. And one big keyword beginning with D. What is a really important part of any successful product that begins with D? Good, Elaine. Yeah, Elaine does spend a lot of time working with users in onboarding. That's great. Not related here, but yeah, that's a great way to obviously understand your customer better. Differentiation. It's differentiated. It doesn't seem it. We go, oh, it's fast, right? Or whatever. Loads of email apps are fast, but it's really zooming in on being the fastest experience ever. Right? Absolutely laser focused, not trying to reinvent the wheel and say, hey, look, we've got clever AI. Look how amazing our team is. No, it's just about doing one simple thing really well, and that's what they're differentiating there. So nice one, Robert, for picking up on that there. So just revealing some of those ideas again. Yeah, we've got clear market, differential value prop, it even hints at the business model, which is essentially basically a great email experience people are willing to pay for. We can even from this statement sort of get a sense of the kind of features we would think about, right? If we're clear at like, okay, we want to be the fastest email experience ever. If say, I don't know, say Adam's on my team, Adam, Henry, I'm really excited. We can make this like beautiful, like awesome way of filtering different emails. I'm going to go tell Adam, is this going to make the email experience faster? Because if not, it's not our thing, right? That's not a kind of feature we're going to think about. If it makes it faster, great. That's what we're going to focus on. We can even think about, self-filter as product people about the kind of things we want to actually work on. So why did I want to give that comparison? We now live in a world with over 16 times the competition than there was just 10 years ago, right? That's 16 times more products out there. It is hyper competitive. And, even back in the day, the last like 20 years, there's been a pretty consistent product failure rate around 70 to 90%. Depending if you're looking at startups, products broadly, internal products, features, but broadly it's about 70 to 90%, and we're probably going to see that rate go up as competition continues to increase. So that means we need to up our game specifically when it comes to product strategy, right? Specifically when it comes to really, finding our niche with our product. And on that, well, what is the primary reason products fail? It ultimately comes down to offering something uniquely valuable. Sorry, failing to offer something that is uniquely valuable. And actually, if you get my book, I'll talk about it shortly. A lot of all the references and studies are in there. So if we do not offer something uniquely valuable, i.e. we are not differentiated, then we are likely to fail. What is uniquely valuable? What does differentiation really mean? I mean, something that we're doing that's different, right? Unique, but also it has to be valuable. We could say we're doing like crazy color schemes, like the craziest color scheme email app ever, doesn't necessarily mean it's valuable. Or amazing movie about zombies and sharks. Cool, sounds pretty unique. Is it actually valuable? No, it's probably going to be rubbish. So uniquely valuable, i.e. differentiated. And as product leaders, that means we need to be really good at coming up with a differentiated product strategy to drive success. It means in the word of Gigi Levi-Weiss, who talks about product promise fit, an investor, it means we need to earn the right to build. Right? We have to earn the right to build. We need to validate our product strategy before we actually even think about building something, because the market's just too competitive to say, like, hey, I've got this great idea, let's go build it, see what happens. No, we need to earn the right to build, validate our product strategy, validate there is, in fact, a gap in the market before we go and build something. And this is where the MVO comes in, the minimal viable offer, and that's what we're going to be building today, actually, as a group. So the MVO is, we define this as a statement outlining what value we will deliver to our audience and how we're going to deliver that value in a unique way. And then actually going and validating this before we again think about building something. And this is really powerful because it can validate a differentiated product strategy, and that's what then informs what we end up building. We can use it to align stakeholders really effectively. And also it works for new and existing products. 80% of products are never going to achieve product market fit, but they're going to struggle to really, drive success, drive revenue, drive profitability even. So yeah, great for new products, but also for auditing existing products and really trying to redirect those products to optimize for success. Just final thing before we jump in, the only call to action I'm going to have today, if anything you read, hear about, if you just enjoy the experience, 2 calls to action. First one, you can get a free copy of my book. You can get a free digital copy, or the Amazon version is like its cost price, so it's $4 or $5. So just click this card here. Product strategy is simple, short, actionable guide to crafting, validating, and communicating your product strategy. If you want to go a level deeper and really fast track your path to head of product, then we still have some places available for our Prod MBA cohort kicking off on Monday. So again, just click that link there. You can learn more about our very unique, differentiated approach to leveling up your product career. But back to what we're going to cover today. I'll share the link to Miro. Yeah. Just make sure, sorry, Mike, to keep resharing that for anyone joining later. Bit of a pain, but hey, it is what it is. So let's jump into the real hands-on part of today. So let's define a real product strategy as a group. We're going to package that in that minimal viable offer format that I mentioned. So the first part of crafting minimal viable offer, step 1 is really addressing like who are we trying to help? Right? Who is the target audience? So what I'm going to do for this, the interactive part of today, let's imagine that we identified a sort of a broad, like a rough idea of a problem we want to look at, even a topic, let's call it. Right? We're not even clear about what it might be yet. So let's say that's employee onboarding. Let's say that there's, we know there are some problems related to employee onboarding. We're not quite sure what it is that we're going to focus on yet. So first exercise I want to do today is I want you to take just 2 to 3 minutes to have a think about who do you think might be affected by this topic or a problem related to this topic, right, of employee onboarding, right? I.e. bringing new employees into an organization or being an employee brought into an organization. Okay, who do you think we could focus on as a niche? Okay, who do you think we could focus on as a niche? And just a few ideas just before you post your answers on Zoom chat or the LinkedIn chat. We've got a few different ways of thinking about this. Now, we want to think about really, firstly, who this might be acute for, who this might be an acute problem for. If it's acute, right, it's something that really like keeps them up at night. It's a painkiller, not a vitamin. It's going to be a lot easier to attract them, to get them to actually bother using the product, and ultimately to actually pay for that product. Secondly, we also want to think about addressability. Like, can we actually access these people? Like, also, you know, we might go, oh, you know, top secret military scientists, great audience. We can't get access to them. Then it's going to be really, really hard to sort of get enough people into our product to ultimately iterate enough to drive success. So who do you think this might be acute for? Who do you think is addressable? Who is that person? And try to be really specific. Right? We want to be as specific as possible. Why? Again, the market's so competitive nowadays. We can't just say, hey, we're focused on backpackers. We need to be very specific. So is it first-time backpackers? Is it, you know, 20 years experience traveling in Southern Europe, whatever that might be? So let's see what ideas you have. Who do you think this could be? Who do you think our niche might be here? Some nice ideas coming through already. Good, interesting. Let's give it another, so I'll put a timer, in fact, for 2 minutes. Let's see what other ideas come through. Good, good, good. So Ricardo says startups that are growing fast. Good. Can you be even more specific there? Is it like, you know, Series A? Is it super early stage? Like what? Try and be really specific. And again, what's the role? Right? What is this? A startup's not a person, right? So who are we really trying to zoom in on here? Good, yeah. So startups that just got seed investment, for example. Good, good, good. Let's see, one more minute, see if any other ideas come through. Robert, yeah, nice idea. Chief Talent Officer. CHRO, is that actually head of recruitment? Maybe, not sure. Adam, so you might have to post the link on LinkedIn as well. I know it gets lost in the comments, a bit of a pain. Don't stress though. I'm going to be sharing my screen, so don't worry, you can follow along, and I'll make sure you get the link after the session. Good. So let's see a few ideas that we've got here. So we've got Robert, Chief Talent Officer, Rob again, Chief Human Resources, Elaine, HR and training managers and tech startups, Ricardo, startups. Good, yeah. So seed startups. Why? Because before that, well, you're not going to have an HR team, so you're sort of trying to manage everything yourself. Good. Okay, great. So why don't we let's run with just one of these. Just again for today, I just want to get an example so you really understand how we actually craft product strategy in practice. Let's say that let's go with Chief Human Resources Officer. Quite a long word, isn't it? Chief HR Officer. All right, the most sort of senior human resources person in an organization. Good. Okay. So we've defined quite specific here. We could go even deeper, right? We could say Chief Human Resources Officer at Series C who's just raised investment. It could be Chief HR Officer in fact, struggling corporate, for example. Depends on what we're going to do next, how we might define that even more specifically. So we're clear now about like who we're going to focus on. Now, the second part of this is being really, really clear about what are we actually helping them achieve. So we've got a few different parts to that. So I want you to think about, we're going to do again 2 to 3 minutes. What is it that they want ultimately? What's what we call the desired outcome? So a few ways to think about this. You know, what problem are we actually solving here? On the surface, it might be that, you know, onboarding new employees is quite chaotic. We might then ask ourselves, well, so we go, yeah, maybe that's the problem that this chief officer is facing. We might then go, well, why is that problem a problem? And then by going a level deeper, go, okay, then we've got a good sense, in fact, of what ultimately this chief HR officer might want. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen about. Let's not give away the answer. So a good example would be for Superhuman, right? Its audience is the busy tech CEO. What is the design outcome for that person? It's going to be saving time, right? Saving 2 to 3 hours per day on emails. So let's do a 3-minute timer on Miro. And I'd like you to just get rid of the answer, in fact. So I'd like you to do 2-3 minutes and write a single statement on the Zoom chat. What is the desired outcome for this chief HR person related to this problem of employee onboarding? Okay, what does this person really want out of this problem, out of this topic, or whatever you want to call it? A 2-minute time, sorry, 2.5 minutes left on that. Take your time on this one. We've got 2.5 minutes. When it comes to employee onboarding, what would a chief HR officer see as, like that ideal outcome? If you promise this to them, they go, oh, wow, that's perfect. That really solved my problem, creates loads of value for me. What is the desired outcome? Okay, good, I love it. Try and rephrase it, try and make it really a bit more clear and punchy. I like it though, you've definitely got the right idea there. Good. There's a few different outcomes we could have here. We could, might even depend on the type of company we think, or the specific, what we call a sub-niche. Right? Within chief HR officers, what kind of chief HR officer? They might have different needs. Good, some interesting answers coming through. Really interesting answers. I'm just going to leave it for 1 more minute for those that are thinking, take a bit more time. That's absolutely fine. Awesome. Again, I'll wait a little bit longer just for a few more answers to come through. Good to see some new people contributing. Andrew, yeah, love it. Awesome answer. And there's no one answer here, one right answer. Sorry, there are different things. Depends what ultimately we think is the outcome that we want to focus on with our product strategy. Good. So last 20 seconds or so. Yeah, interesting answer, Ariel. Like it. Good. Last chance to post your answers if you haven't done so already. Don't stress if you haven't completed, just do sort of ... see wherever you're at. Just want to see what kind of ideas come through. Good, and I'll start writing a few of the kind of ideas coming out already. Good. Awesome. Some really nice ideas here. So let's see, a couple of different themes that we're seeing, right? There's chief HR officer might want, they want to increase employee retention. So I think as Adam and somebody else, Robert said, yeah, chief HR officer essentially wants basically more employees to stay. And I like how specific it is. So increase 90-day, depends obviously, what the problem is. Your company might be 3 months, might be 6 months. 90-day retention. Sorry, 90-day employee retention. Good. Productivity was mentioned. So Kate, I love it. Engaging new employees. So new employees to create value fast. Yeah, good. Love that keyword as well. Good. Yeah, Sydney, similar kind of idea, sort of streamlining, right? Standardizing, avoiding. Yeah, so actually helping them save time by avoiding repetition, repeated work. Yeah, that kind of thing. So saving them time. So it's more like as a chief HR officer, I say, actually, employees are pretty happy. They seem to get up to speed. I'm just super stressed and busy all the time because I'm doing everything manual or repeating stuff. These three are equally valid. These are all valid. These are valid outcomes you might want to focus on. Now, just for today's exercise, again, I just want to focus on one outcome. And by the way, we shouldn't try and do too much with one product. We want to be really, really focused. As we mature, if we start seeing really nice product market fit here, we're going to start stacking value. And obviously, these things are not mutually exclusive, right? Like when we say, just because we're focusing on helping employees get up to speed fast, that's also likely to help the employee be retained, because they're probably getting more satisfaction from a job if they're actually contributing, right? Not necessarily, but there's going to be a lot of overlap there. But we want to be really focused on what do we think it's, if we look at this statement now, this, by the way, really represents our product vision. what are we ultimately doing that we think is compelling for the chief HR officer? If I go to them, let's take Sydney, you're our imaginary chief HR officer. I go, hey, Sydney, I'm going to help your new employees create value fast. You're going to, yeah, that sounds great. Sounds exactly what I want. That's what we want to do. And we could play with the wording. We could try and make it more compelling, but generally that's a pretty good, yeah, awesome. Sydney says it sounds pretty good. So we can move forward with this. Yeah, we can play with the wording. We could try and be more specific. Help create new employees create value within their first 30 days would be awesome. For example, really compelling, really specific there. Good. So step 2 is really about being really clear about what are we ultimately trying to achieve? Because again, it's not about these sort of surface level problems or actually talking about the problem, but it's talking about what does someone want? Because we as a product essentially are positioning ourselves in the middle and saying, we're going to help you go from here, where the problem is, to here, which is where the desired outcome is. Awesome. So let's go on to our third and final part of defining a great, compelling, minimal viable offer. A little bit more complicated now. So we've got sort of the crux of the core of our product vision. We can iterate on how we solve this, but we're not likely to change now on this big promise, a sort of high-level value proposition. Andrew said, yeah, good hypothesis. We need to actually interview these people 100%. We still need to do discovery work. We can't just sit on a mirror board and pat ourselves on the back. But this is a good start. This is really about getting a hypothesis around our product strategy, and then we go test out with the market. So final part of today, differentiation. We need to, we do this in a unique way. Like we've hinted at fast, easy to say, like how do we actually deliver on that though? So the final part is essentially saying like, how are we gonna, so we help chief HR officers onboard new employees to create value fast with or by ... And then we need to insert what's that unique way that we're going to deliver that outcome. And we've got 4 sort of key different drivers we can use when it comes to product strategy, right? When it comes to that differentiation part of our product strategy. So first is what we call, essentially a way, the approach of questioning convention. How might we do things differently to the market in a way that we think is going to be more valuable? So a good example, I'll use our own example at Prod MBA. Like we're a small bootstrap company, but we're able to compete with companies like Productboard and Reforge because we are laser focused on hands-on actionable learning. Right? Back in the day, I looked at the market and said it's completely crazy that you're expected to learn by just watching some videos and not actually putting this stuff into practice. So we said, okay, that doesn't make sense. Learning should be really hands-on and experiential. Therefore, we get you to build a real product from scratch. Okay, so that's a way that we question convention rather than say, let's do another theoretical, course on product strategy or whatever it was. Another great example is Amy.so. They looked at, rather than, they looked at the calendar market and said, well, rather than just building another calendar, what's actually the root problem? It's not like a better calendar. It's the fact that we have a to-do list over here when we start the day. And then we've got a calendar over here that other people book. So there's a divorce between what we think is important on our to-do list and our calendar, and they've merged those two things so that what you prioritize is actually, so what you think is important is actually prioritized on your calendar. Really great way of addressing the root cause and questioning convention. So let's take 2 minutes. Based on what we have so far, how might we deliver this in a unique way and in a way that questions convention? Firstly. Okay, so 2-minute timer. How might we question convention to deliver onboarding of new employees to create value fast in a really unique way? 2-minute timer. So any ideas? How might we help these chief HR officers onboard new employees to create value fast in a unique way, in a way that questions convention, maybe? Think about how it's currently done, maybe, and how we might do that differently. Good. First couple of ideas coming through. Interesting. Okay, so nice ideas. Yeah, nice ideas coming through. Any others? Any others? Let's give it 30. Interesting. Some really interesting ideas. Good. We can see there are so many different ways that we could approach this. Just already in four really nice ideas. Good. Final chance to post your idea. So I'm just going to show you an example that I had, right? Is one thing we might do is go, what is the convention? Well, it's always HR that lead onboard. We might even go, well, that doesn't even make sense. Like, surely it should be the team lead who really leads onboarding. So how might we, question that convention, right? I loved some of the ideas here. So yeah, Sabrina, I think really nice idea. We could say, sorry, copied the wrong thing there. Involving new employees early in new projects. Sorry, paste doesn't work. New employees early in new projects. Yeah, nice. We could say, hey, this is something that we're gonna help in terms of our product strategy is going to be really focusing on getting employees up to speed quickly, getting them working on new projects in some way. Could even do like simulation projects in the first month to be like, yeah, are they aligned? Is their thinking aligned with ours, for example? Another one, Robert, a little bit of a solution, immersive XR onboarding. I want to know, like, what is the value? Like, what's the unique value of that, for example? Just because it's XR, does that mean it's any better? It's like saying we're going to do it with AI. Okay, cool. If the AI is going to actually help us deliver better outcomes, for example. Good, Michelle, we could even be really specific and say, let's really zoom in on speed, in fact, and just say, let's be more specific about this fast thing and say, yeah, reduce onboarding to 7 days. Or, literally could be, we help create value fast by fully onboarding them in just 7 days. Awesome. See, we don't even need to think about solutions. We don't want to at this stage. We want to be just really focused on like, what's the area of value, the stream of value that we're going to focus on. And later we can then go, okay, well, how might we do that? What kind of solutions might we need to build there? Good. Some great ideas. Second one, we might leverage different technology. So, if we think of Tesla, right, they just were leveraging lithium batteries and basically digitized the whole car to create a 10x better product. Or we might have a paradigm shift because of new technology. So anybody that uses Loom for communication, see the little icon up here, that there is a paradigm shift away from text communication with email and Slack to video communication when internet speeds were faster, when video was streamable faster, when you could just click and record a video like Loom and then share a link. So we saw new technology that underpinning a big paradigm shift in work communication. So same exercise, let's do 2 minutes. How might we help onboard new employees to create value faster by leveraging different technology in some way? Let's see if we've got any ideas here. So how might we leverage different technology in a unique way that's going to drive this outcome? Any ideas? Christine, LMS platform, is that learning management platform? Yeah, is that new technology? I mean, it might be. I'm just asking out of interest. What kind of new technology is underpinning that? Elaine, awesome, love it. Really cool idea. I'm going to run with that one just in the interest of time. So yeah, Elaine said, well, we could say, how do we copy and paste a real pain? Work with AI Buddy on a simulation project. That is awesome. Awesome idea. You know, we can use that AI now. We can use generative AI, right, to review, let's say, our knowledge base, if it's up to date, obviously, to create a suggested simulated project that might make some sense, and then to check, is, say, Sabrina's our new employee. Is Sabrina sort of doing the kind of stuff that's aligned with our product strategy? Is she thinking about like objectives and key results in the way we like to? Is she displaying the kind of skills and thought process that we like to see in our employees? Because then we can identify issues, coach them, or you know, just simply say, yeah, Sabrina, you're doing really well with us. Yeah, awesome. I think an idea I had, we could do integrated workflow. So maybe it's like getting, you know, everything in one place, 10x better technology essentially, by having everything really streamlined in one place rather than like it's a bit of onboarding on Google Drive over there on a Zoom call, this kind of thing. Simple AI FAQ system might be a really good little approach there as well. Bit of a solution, but sort of AI knowledge base, let's say. Good. Third thing we can look at, third driver of a differentiated product strategy, we can just do one thing way better. We can do one thing way better. Now, because we've identified this as sort of our high level, I'm not going to actually do this exercise today, but we can look at a few different things. So in our case, we might just do speed. We might say, look, you know, at this level, we're not so bothered about like how we're going to do it. We're just going to show we're going to onboard people in 7 days, quite simply. It's going to be, or even 5 days, a working week, 5 days. So it might be absolute laser focus on speed, just like Superhuman. Other things we could do is simplicity. So, you know, whereby.com is a good example where rather than creating all these like different links for a video conference, passwords, all of that, I can simply copy whereby.com/Henry Latham, share that with somebody. So really, really simple. You know, strip back, does exactly what I personally would need it to do. We can do speed, as Superhuman does. We can also use delight. So Southwest Airlines is a great example where they try and embed delight in simple things like the pilot's announcement, the security videos, right? The interactions you might have with customer service, so that your experience is something memorable and therefore you're likely to talk more about it. And they see actually, I think it's a 0.25. So I think it's every person that gets a Southwest Airlines flight that has some sort of unique moment books 0.5 extra flights per year. Big impact in a very competitive market. We can then look at more complex things like leveraging networks. We might look at double down on a specific feature or sort of area of value that we identify. So Instagram, for example, there were many photo apps out there, but they were the first one that says we're going to try and do professional looking photos, right? Really zoom in on the sort of the filters, right? The sort of the way we might edit a photo using an iPhone. And final exercise I want to do today. We can look at a few different ideas of how we might be dominant in the long term. So we might say, for example, okay, we're going to be really fast, but also we might want to already start thinking about how we can, for example, leverage network effects, right? How might we do something like Miro does where, you know, me being a user, I've invited all of you in today to use this product. We're all collaborating on this. It's creating more and more value and then spreading word of mouth and actually creating more value for all of us as users. We can look at things like economies of scale. So does it make sense that the more product we sell, the more value we can create, like Amazon? Can we offer cheaper, faster? Or we might have like a really strong brand, for example, that we could leverage. So yeah, in this case, we might say, well, we could see a really strong network effect, right? Network effect being, if I am the chief HR officer and I'm going to you know, share this with my team, share this with my employees, how might we try and use that to create more value, to generate more value? And in fact, let's do 2 minutes on that. So let's say we look at network effects, right? How to not just get virality, but actually get more value creation with our product. So let's say we focus on helping onboard employees really fast, right? What else could we do as part of our product strategy to create even more value over time with something like network effects? A bit more advanced product strategy, but let's do a minute time and see if anybody has any ideas here. Any ideas of how we might sort of help our long-term success with this product strategy? Sorry, somebody just at the door. Whilst we're doing that time, I'm just going to go and open the door for a parcel. Apologies. Apologies. Just pass it the door. Good. So we've got some ideas. Adam, don't leave us. Don't worry. The door is just 2 meters away. Sydney, let's see what idea you've got here. Users can build on onboarding plans and projects that other teams have created, like easily shared. Awesome. It's exactly the kind of thing that we're thinking. I'm just going to repeat that idea because I think it's so important. So imagine we're going to start out in the market. We're trying to break into, let's say, I always think of it as a castle with a moat, which is the current market. Our way in is we're going to be the fastest. We're going to onboard employees really fast so they create value. We double down that, right? We build our product. We've got features, multiple products. That's what we're laser focused on. And then as we start getting success, we might go, okay, well, how do we now occupy the castle and defend ourselves with a moat? As Sydney says, we could go, okay, well, let's really leverage this network effect. The fact that, hey, if Chief HR Officer and all the HR lot have been using this for a while, we can have templates, right? We can do cross onboarding across different teams. If my product team's onboard an employee, then the next product team can sort of use that as a template to start from, and it creates more and more value over time. Okay, yeah, so templates being a specific feature, a way that we might deliver on that network effect. Love it. Awesome. So that is it when it comes to creating a product strategy. It is not rocket science. It's really not. Sure, absolutely. As I can't remember who earlier on said, I think it was Richard maybe, we need to validate this, that there's no beating about the bush. You don't just go do this session and go, yeah, great, we've got a really nice, clear, minimal viable offer that represents our product strategy. We ultimately need to then go and validate it. What does validation look like? Essentially, there are different ways of doing this, right? So it can be as simple as, let's say, if it's a small business, like putting this as your LinkedIn header, right? This minimal viable offer, reaching out to people from your target market and saying, are they willing to even have a conversation? Can we get them to book a call with us? If we've got a landing page, again, let's put this big statement on there and let's see if they're willing to sign up for something or book a pre-sales call, for example. If we're working on an existing product, so let's say we've got some sort of HR product and it's a bit of a mess, it's struggling, we're not quite sure what we should be doing, we can ideate, get 10 different minimal viable offers like this, put them in a survey, email our existing customer base and see which ones do they think resonate most, and then start focusing on those 1, maybe 2 product strategy statements. We can do the same exercise for different niches. Let's say again we have some massive HR tool, we've got different user personas. That's fine. Let's look first at Chief HR Officer. Let's look at mid-level HR. Let's look at product manager who might be wanting to onboard a new employee, for example. So we can use this in many different ways, and the validation is very, very simple. And again, to create ideas, we can either brainstorm or we go and speak to our customers, and this is what we teach in Prod MBA, right? A lot of discovery calls to really sort of understand, who might this be valuable for? What do they really want? And come up with unique insights that might ultimately drive the differentiation part of our product strategy there. Final thing, below you're going to see there's a nice worksheet we've got. You can click that down here and just look at sort of different word choices to sort of help you construct a really nice minimal viable offer that you can use. So that's it. That is how we craft a minimal viable offer, right? That underpins our product strategy. That's who we're trying to help, what ultimately they want from us, and how are we going to do that in a really unique way. And that's what should then drive your decisions about what ultimately you end up building in terms of a solution. So thank you for listening. Thanks for joining the interactive part today. And yeah, I think we're over to Q&A, Adam, for the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, awesome, Henry. Yeah, that was brilliant. Really interactive. Some awesome questions from the group. One person mentioning like Ricardo and a few others trying to get the book. It's not working. So
Let me check this out. If the link might have died the last few times. Let me check this out. Whilst we see if any questions are coming through.
One question that came up on LinkedIn while you're doing it is, I think the scenario was the product manager working on the product and they're not sure if they should go back and do this exercise. Do you have any advice in terms of when folks should maybe take a bit of a step back and rethink and kind of go through their setting their strategy and their vision and going through some of those exercises you mentioned?
Sorry, so again, when do you think is a good time to do this for product managers with existing products? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So cliche always. Look, I think it's any time that you, as I said, 80% of products never achieve product market fit. Therefore, most likely your product needs some sort of audit. Sometimes it might be, you're sort of thinking along these lines already, but you just lack the framework to communicate it effectively. Because remember, MVO it is a way to validate the product strategy with the audience. As I said, put it on. You could do Facebook ads, you could do landing page with that phrase. But it is also about internal alignment. So it's about, you, Adam, over there in finance, and me in product, and Ricardo over in HR, or different product team, whatever it is, like that we're clearly there. This is what we're doing on a high level. Like we're focused on speed to create great new employees. We're not worried about anything else, right? There are other problems in HR, like payroll. Other people are going to solve that. That's just not our thing. So it gives us a really nice focus and alignment that, again, then I call it the decision to solve 1,000 decisions, because it means we're not going to have all these conversations with stakeholders. Say Adam's easier as an example. Say Sydney's really difficult, like stakeholder we've got. She's just awful, always bossing people around, always coming up with these stupid ideas. By having the alignment around the product strategy, we start to sort of filter out many of these conversations, or it's a hell of a lot easier, notoriously difficult, hell of a lot easier for us to deflect Sydney than it is before, where it's like we have no way of saying, no, that's not our thing. Like we do A, we don't do B, C, D, E. So it's a really nice way to sort of to bring that to the fore. Again, even if you think, we're pretty clear, just make it really explicit. I mean, you can do this. We did it in half an hour. You can do a 1-hour workshop. I've got all the links that if public workshops we have. If you want to do that, reach out to me on links. I will send you the links. I'll help answer any question. Most companies need to do it urgently, because they are, feature factory mode. They're sort of like, let's try and build everything. Let's please every type of stakeholder, every type of user. And that is almost always a recipe for failure. But we need to be really, really focused. And again, remember that stat, 16 times more competition, even more important nowadays than 2007-8 lean startup comes out. You could probably launch, or early 2000, launch anything. It's probably going to work because the market's so open. Very hard nowadays to find something that's really going to not just stick, but also ultimately become profitable.
Yeah. No, good.
Sorry, I know there's something for the book. I think there's a dead link. I will post a different link.
Awesome. And while you're doing that, we've got a few questions coming through in the Q&A. So this one is anonymous, and it's, how do we craft MVO when the product is two-sided like a marketplace? That's a good one.
Sorry, say again. How do we?
So how do we craft?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it's a two-sided marketplace, you might have different type of personas, needs. Like, how would you approach that?
We need two MVOs. So we need to understand, like B2B, classic example. These are different people with very different needs. So let's, a great example we've done today. the HR team has very different needs than the employee coming in, right? Employee wants sense of purpose, they want stability, they want to create value early on as well. The HR team might actually be about saving themselves time or whatever it might be. So we need to craft the MBO based on who the target audience is. Now, in a marketplace, we're usually going to have two completely different product teams around those. So Airbnb, right, we have somebody focused on the travelers, right, people that are going to book an accommodation. And then we have hosts. Hosts want to make lots of money from their spare room or spare house. Travelers want a really cool travel experience. Now, the goal of leadership is then to try and marry, we're not building two completely different things, right? There's some alignment there, but the MBOs are completely different. And now when it comes to B2B, really it depends who's the decision maker going to be. Let's say, we've got this cool HR tool. Well, who's ultimately going to sign off for that? It's going to be CEO, it's going to be head of HR, whoever the budget holder is. So the MBO needs to be directed at them. The final product might be very different, right? It might be a product that freelancers use, maybe junior HR people use. MBO is not that relevant in those kind of cases.
Awesome. All right, we've got time for one more question. So this one's from Ricardo. Ricardo, good stuff, been super active. It's, if the product is trying to solve multiple problems, does it make sense to create an MBO for each problem?
Yeah, so if the product is solving multiple problems, yeah, I mean, ultimately, we want to, it can depend, right? There's, for example, today we had one where there's overlap. We have overlap between getting employees up to speed fast and retaining them. If we're probably doing the same kind of stuff to achieve both of those outcomes. So if there's significant overlap, we might just say, well, can we come up with an MBO that sort of encompasses those two things? So we might say, how do we create happy, engaged, value generating new employees to really sort of summarize broadly what we're trying to do? If we've got very different problems we're trying to solve, we're going to need different MBOs. So we might have a high level alignment, really that product vision. We want to create great new employees. And then we might go down a level and say, okay, actually, we need to break this up and say, Adam's team focus on the employees themselves and their experience. And, Henry's team is going to be focused on the sort of back end, right? So the platform for the HR team themselves, like the setting up of the onboarding, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, awesome. No, that makes a ton of sense. Right, Henry, I think that's about it. We've got about 3 minutes left, so I think we should wrap up now. How can folks learn a little bit more about your upcoming programs? How do they reach out to you?
Yeah, good question. So best thing to, I post, I was going to say every day of the week, but not on weekend. Monday to Friday, I'll post on LinkedIn twice a day. So follow me on there. Just search Henry Latham, HenryLatham. Search me on there. If you're interested in, we've got a lot of free resources at prod.mba, so prod.mba. Go down to the bottom. There is a link to both books actually down there. There's a free link to the book. I need to track it down. Apologies. This is an old link. So I've been on a bit of a sabbatical. That's why. Bit of a slip there. But message me on LinkedIn. I will give you a free copy of the book. And in fact, I think I can just give you a raw Dropbox link now, just to save everyone faffing around afterwards. No, drop me a message on LinkedIn. I will send that for you. And yeah, that's it. If you want to, as I said, really sort of take a step up, obviously there's only so much we can do in an hour, but if you want to go through, our boot camp's quite intensive, but we get you to build a real product, and ultimately that's the best way, right, in product to skill up and get to leadership. Then we've got cohort kicking off on Monday for that as well.
Awesome, brilliant. Well, here, Henry, thank you so much for your time today. Completely agree. Being hands-on makes the biggest difference. So I just wanted to quickly wrap up here and say thanks, Henry. This is our Product Makers events that we're doing, brought to you by Productboard.